Hi, this is Britt from inpursuitofhappiness.net. Today I want to share with you a great question I got at a recent happiness workshop I did. At the end of the workshop, a woman raised her hand and said, okay, but what do you do if you hate feelings? And some of the other attendees laughed, but I knew exactly what she was talking about because my daughter has said the exact same thing to me. She hates feelings. First of all, know that if you hate feelings or they just kind of make you uncomfortable, that's okay. It's totally normal. You don't have to get to a point where you're a touchy-feely sort of person, all right? But feelings demand to be felt. There's no avoiding that. Feelings are kind of like that slime stuff you had when you were a kid, right? And if you would squish it and squeeze it, it would start popping out in all of the extra spaces. That's how feelings work. If you try to shove them down or ignore them, they're just gonna pop out in unexpected places all over your life. So to avoid that, you need to practice feeling your feelings. The good news is all you have to do is feel them. You don't have to overcome them or change them or deal with them. You just have to practice feeling them. What I found to be helpful is to let the feelings in a little bit at a time. All right. So when you are kind of overwhelmed, just let the feelings in a little bit. And when you get into a point where it's too much, you give yourself permission to be done. So how do you do that? How do you let in feelings a little bit? I'm going to give you 3 ideas. Number 1 is to journal. So just write about your feelings. You can take a blank notebook and just write about your feelings for a few minutes. And when you get to the point where you're really uncomfortable, maybe it's been about 5 minutes, close the journal, put it away, and be done. Move on, no problem. A second way you can let feelings in a little bit at a time is to talk to a safe person. The safe person is the really important part. What you need is a person who is just going to let you talk about your feelings. They're not going to try to fix it. They're not going to try to make you feel better. And most importantly, when you say, all right, that's all I can handle, they're going to be okay with letting you be done. A third way you can practice letting in feelings a little bit at a time is just have a little quiet time to yourself. My favorite way to do this is to shut the radio off in the car when I'm driving somewhere. You might also take your morning coffee in a quiet place outside or something like that. Just give yourself time where you can be quiet and not have any distractions and just let yourself feel. And again, when you get uncomfortable, stop. It's all right. The trick though is to remind yourself that yes, you're stopping, but you're going to come back to it later. So what you do is you end up feeling these big overwhelming feelings in bite-sized chunks until eventually the feeling has worked its course, it's done its thing, and it goes away. Great way to make sure you do that you keep coming back to it, is to create a habit. So maybe you journal every morning, or maybe you see a therapist every week, or have an appointment with a friend where you have coffee every other week, or you do your quiet time every morning on your way to work. All right. Having these habits is a great way to let yourself practice feeling feelings for a little bit at a time, but also honor the boundaries that you have. All right. You might not ever get to a point where you're like me and you love rolling around in your feelings, but you can get to a point where you're not afraid of your feelings and they don't control you. That's the goal. All right. That's it for this week. Next week, we are going to be talking about what to do when you're surrounded by miserable people. Great question from Facebook. If you have a question about happiness, email me at britt@inpursuitofhappiness.net and you just might see it here in a video.